Good morning, dear students. Welcome back once again to the English class of Class 10. We are meeting after a long time. I hope you're all busy with your studies, and as informed earlier, you're all busy with your preparations for the test that is soon going to come up. Okay, let the test continue, but we will continue with the lesson. Today, we are going to take a story from the supplementary reader of Class 10. Supplementary reader. The name of the story is A Thief's Story. The story of a thief. It's a very attractive title, if you can kind of read it very carefully. What does a thief have to say? What is his story? And the writer is one of the most celebrated writers of India, that is Rustin Bond. He writes mainly for children. He lives in Missouri and he has received several awards for his literary work. So one of the stories that he has written is A Thief's Story. Before we get into the story, let us look at these two words, trust and education. Two important words, trust and education. What is trust? Believing someone fully, without any doubts, without any suspicion. That is said to be trust. So if you trust somebody, you believe that person, you honor that person, and you can also share anything with that person freely without any hesitation. This is trust. And trust is a very important quality that we should possess, because life goes on smoothly based on the trust that we have on each other. So without trust, life cannot go on. If you keep on suspecting somebody, if you keep on doubting somebody, if you fail to trust anybody, then the relationship is not smooth. So that is very important. Having trust in somebody, believing somebody is an important quality. This strengthens the friendship and relationship. What strengthens? Trust strengthens our friendship, and it helps us to continue our relationship. It wins the confidence. Supposing a servant is working under a master and the master trusts the servant, obviously the servant will be trying, or he would try to be faithful and loyal to his master. So the master trusts the servant and vice versa. The servant trusts the master as well. So there is a mutual understanding and a good relationship. So the master trusts the servant and the servant gives his very best. And trust begets trust. This is a very good saying in English. Trust begets trust. What is the meaning of trust begets trust? If I trust you, you have to trust me back. It is not that I trust you and you doubt me, or I trust you and you suspect me. So trust begets trust. It is a reciprocal action. What is the meaning of reciprocal? Acting or being active on both sides. I trust you and you trust me. That is reciprocal. So it is a reciprocal sort of thing. And it promotes honesty, faithfulness and loyalty. So before we get into the story, let us keep this at the background. Trust is important for human life. Number two is education. Education is a very important factor in one's life. I don't have to talk about this because you might have listened a lot about this. Now, I would just like to say only one thing. Education brings awareness. It makes you how you are progressing in your life, what you have learned and how it helps you to kind of improve your lifestyle. It is not just getting a job. Education makes you self-confident. Once you get yourself educated, you get the potential and you try to stand on your own feet and you make some money by getting a good job, and not only that, you try to bring in some values. Education brings values in a person. He tries to become a human being and he tries to kind of take in good qualities, and he becomes a social being, an honest social being. That is the role of education. And And of course, it is a platform for building your career. If you are good with your academics, if you score very good marks, then obviously you get a good job. So that sets the platform for a successful career. That is education. Right. These two things. Then there is one more thing, that once you try to forgive somebody, I repeat, once you try to forgive somebody, a change comes in the person's heart. So supposing somebody has done something wrong against you, you're very angry, you want to take revenge on that person. You can take revenge in many ways. You can manhandle that person, you can beat that person, or you can insult that person, or you can also do good to that person, through which that person becomes changed. And that change will last forever. Somebody makes a mistake, or somebody has wronged you, you insult him, you retaliate, or you take revenge on him in a very bad manner. This will not last long. This won't bring any change in that person. But if you behave in a polite and a noble manner, and through your action you teach him something, that would be the best form of revenge. So, forgiveness. Forgiveness is the best revenge we can have. Now, these three things set the platform for the story that we are going to discuss today. That is trust, education, and forgiveness. All these three factors make up the story. Now, let us get into the story. But before we get into the story, let us have a look at the characters. I want you to kind of throw some light on this. I want you to kind of focus on this. Let me throw some light on the characters. We have two important people, just two. So, Anil and Hari Singh. Anil, of course, is the protagonist or the main person in the story. Anil is a writer. And I suppose you know who writers are. They write novels, they write short stories, and there are also writers who write for magazines. Weekly magazines, fortnightly magazines, monthly magazines. So, Anil was such a writer. But he was a struggling writer. Now, not all writers are very successful. Some writers are struggling writers. They are in the initial stage of their profession. So, Anil was some sort of a person like this. He was a struggling writer. He writes for magazines and sometimes he gets paid for that. And the payment sometimes comes very late. He waits for the check to arrive. And in between he borrows money from somebody and somehow maintains his lifestyle or continues to live. So, he was a struggling writer. Then we have the villain of the story, that is Hari Singh. Hari Singh was a vagabond. And who is a vagabond? A vagabond is a person who wanders aimlessly. He cheats people, robs things out of people, or maybe he manhandles somebody and takes away whatever belongs to them. He was living a kind of lifestyle which was out of his control. So he was an aimless person. Whenever he got a small job in somebody's house, he used to do that. He used to change his name once in every month. The moment he gets a new person as a master, he changes his name. And he was also telling a lot of lies, a thief, because his habit was stealing. He was cheating people. So Hari Singh definitely is not a very good character in the beginning of the story. Ruskin Bond does not portray him as a very good character in the story. But towards the end, there is a drastic change. We will discuss that later. So keep in mind, the two major characters of the story are, one is Anil Singh, a struggling writer, and the other one is Hari Singh, a vagabond or a thief. Now, Hari Singh meets Anil in a wrestling match. You know what is wrestling? People put oil on their bodies and without clothes, they show their muscles and they start, wrestling with each other. So, wrestling is actually a hobby. If you go to some remote areas in the northern part of India, in some villages, you find wrestlers. And wrestling is also part of the Olympic Games. It is an event. So he was, Hari was interested in watching wrestling matches, and Anil too was interested in the same. So there was a wrestling match going on, and Anil meets Hari, or vice versa. Hari meets Anil for the first time. So when they meet, it is a sudden meeting, and there is a talk that goes on about wrestling. And after that, Anil starts walking. He walks off. He clears the place. But Hari follows Anil. Hari follows Anil from the wrestling spot. And he asks him to give a job. He requests Anil for a job. And Anil says, can you cook? He asks him a question. He asks him, or he puts a question to him. Can you cook? And Hari says, yes, I can do good cooking. I'm a very good cook. But Hari says, I cannot, and Anil says, I cannot pay you. You may cook. You are entitled to food. I can accommodate you. But other than these two things, I cannot pay you. But Hari agrees to that. He says, no problem. I'm ready to follow you. So now Hari is taken as a servant by Anil. And he cooks for the first time. It was an evening meal. Now Anil starts eating the food. He was not satisfied with the cooking because it was tasteless, a bland food without taste. So he throws the food to the dog. Now Hari thought, now he's going to throw me out. But Anil did not do that. Anil said, don't worry, I will teach you how to cook. And he starts teaching Hari how to cook. Then Anil trusted. He began to trust Hari. Anil was a trustworthy person. How can you say that? He gives the key of the house. He hands over the keys of the house to Hari. And he also gives him some money every day to go and do the marketing. So Hari went to the market, purchased vegetables, he purchased cereals, pulses, whatever was required for cooking. And after purchasing the commodities, Hari made a profit of 1 rupee every day. So Anil knew that he is making a profit of 1 rupee, but he does not say anything. He was quite comfortable with that. Now, Anil was frustrated for some time because he did not get the money for the articles that he had written. And one fine evening, Anil comes home with a bundle, with a wad of currency notes, or a bundle of currency notes. So he was paid for what he had written. And after enjoying a hearty meal, Anil puts the bundle of currency or the wad of currency notes under his bed and sleeps. Now, Hari watches Anil putting the bundle of currency under the bed. So he waited for Anil to sleep and he talked to himself. Hari was talking to himself. Anil has got a lot of money now. This is the time for me to steal some money. Otherwise, Anil is going to spend it on his friends and he's just going to waste the money. So why not I take a few currency notes? This was the thought that was going on in Hari's mind. You see, money tempts everybody. Money is a big tempter. And Hari was no exception. He was tempted by that wad of currency notes or the bundle of currency notes, and he was waiting for the right opportunity. He was waiting for Anil to sleep. And Anil soon slept, and Hari went to his bedside. He slid his hands, his fingers under the bed, and he took the bundle of currency and he took 600 rupees, all in 50 rupee note, 50 rupee denomination. He took a total sum of 600 rupees, that is 6 50 rupee notes, 6 5s are 30, and 600 rupees. He put those currency notes into his pocket and kept the rest of the money under the bed and moved out of the house. Outside it was raining, and Hari said, I'm going to the railway station. I will take a train and manage to go to Lucknow. And this 600 rupees is a big money for me, and I can live quite comfortably for many days. I have enough money to spend with me. Thinking that, he walked in the rain and reached the railway station. He sat on a bench and he was thinking wildly. Wild imagination was going in his mind. He was thinking as to how comfortably he would live, the nice things that he would buy and eat, the clothes that he would wear, the places that he would visit. So there was a wild imagination. In English we say imagination was running riot. Wild imagination. And thinking, he sat on the bench alone, waiting for any one of the trains to come so that he can go somewhere. And his plan was to move to Lucknow. So after some time, the train for Lucknow arrived at the platform. But here is a twist in the story. The train comes, but something in the heart of Hari makes him stop there. Something stops him. Something bars him. He is not able to understand as to what is stopping him, but he doesn't board the train, so the train leaves. You see, there is always a conscience within every one of us. Definitely. Conscience is the voice of God. And if you do something wrong, definitely somewhere in the corner of the heart, there will be a voice telling you that what you have done is wrong. Maybe that voice was making this Hari not to board the train, and it stopped him probably. So now what he does, he comes away from the railway station. He thinks of going and staying in one of his friend's house. He had a friend in the town, but he said friends are always troubleshooters. The more the friends, the more the trouble. And at this time of the night, I don't feel like going and staying near anybody's house. So he gives up the idea of staying in a friend's house. And you know what he does next? He thinks that the best place that I would find to spend the night is my new master, that is Anil. So he finds Anil's house to be the perfect place. So he gets wet in the rain and walks to Anil's house once again. His pajama and kurta, they're all drenched in water. And even the currency notes that he had in his pocket, they became damp, in the sense slightly wet. Now he enters Anil's room. Anil is sleeping very peacefully, and looking at his face, Hari thinks, now tomorrow morning when Anil wakes up, he will definitely find that I have stolen the money, and he is going to give me some 3 rupees or 4 rupees as my daily allowance, or maybe my wages. So thinking that, he very quietly went near Anil, looked at his face, but Anil's face was not at all disturbed. He was sleeping very peacefully, very calm, a sound sleep. So very slowly, he took away all the 50 rupee notes and then quietly put them under the bed. He put them along with the rest of the currency notes of the bundle. And after that, he went to bed. Now, while Hari was sleeping, some change comes over him. What is the change? You see, he thinks, Anil had started to teach me. I forgot to tell you one thing. Anil began to teach Hari. We were discussing education, you know. So Anil came to understand that Hari was illiterate. He was not educated, so he found that education should be given to this man. Therefore, he started his lessons and he started teaching him the letters of the Hindi alphabet. And the lessons were going on. So it was after a few days of class that Hari stole the money. Now when Hari is sleeping, he thinks, you see, I am a thief. There is no doubt about that. And I know how to steal money from people. I can very well steal money. Stealing can bring money to me. There is no doubt about that. But being a respectable person, being a clever person, being an educated person is something more important than being a thief. Being a thief can bring money, but being an educated and a clever and a gentle person